91.7.
Assalamu alaikum, alaikum, yeah. I just wanna spread love and peace and all of my happiness, yeah, to everyone that I meet. Cause I'm feeling spectacular. I love it when we love one another. Give thanks every day for this life, living with a smile on our face. Assalamu alaikum, alaikum, yeah. Assalamu alaikum, alaikum, yeah. Assalamu alaikum, alaikum, yeah. Assalamu alaikum, alaikum, yeah.
Muhammad Nabina.
Living a life that depicts the teachings of Islam is the dream of every Muslim. Everyday Muslim, Saturdays 11 a.m. on Women Radio 91.7 is in collaboration with Muslim Public Affairs Center, NPAC. Everyday Muslim will address the misconceptions on Islam, foster a peaceful coexistence, and guide the everyday Muslim on the journey in Islam. Everyday Muslim, Saturdays 11 a.m. on Women Radio 91.7. Simplified understanding of the deen.
هدينا من مكة حبيبي نور سطع.
When I was young, I was a fool. I was blind, didn't know any better. I was afraid I made too many mistakes, and you'd only look at me as a sinner. No matter how much I would try, all the walls I put up always shattered, until your mercy conquered me. Oh Allah, you know I love my insecurities, and you keep them getting far away. Oh Allah, you hide all of my sins and impurities, and you call me back when I go astray. Whatever I do, only because I was fed up. I thought I could do it all, that I was strong, but it turned out I wasn't so clever. No matter how.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. You're welcome to Everyday Muslim live on WFM 91.7. We apologize for that sound that came up once we came on air. We sincerely apologize for that. Right, today on the show, inshallah ta'ala, we're looking at cervical cancer. This is the week where cervical cancer is celebrated. So we're looking at protecting women's lives, the role of awareness and early prevention of cervical cancer. And subhanallah, we plan, Allah plans, and Allah is the best of planners. We did work hard to get doctors to join us, and incidentally emergencies occurred. They're currently in the theater, but inshallah ta'ala, as we coast home, they will join us. Now we wish them and pray that Allah guides and holds their hands for a successful surgery, inshallah ta'ala. So I'm just going to be here with my teammates. Faida, are you there? Assalamu alaikum. Hello, Faida. Alright, while I wait for Faida to come on, across our communities, women's health is often treated as a private matter. It's spoken about in whispers, it's postponed until it becomes urgent, or avoided entirely due to fear, shame, cultural discomfort, or just simple lack of knowledge. Yet, cervical cancer is one of the most preventable forms of cancer. It continues to claim the lives of thousands of women every year. It's not because science has failed, but because awareness has not reached far enough. There are myths that have persisted for far too long, and early screening has been delayed for too many. In many faith based and conservative spaces, conversations about reproductive health are often seen as uncomfortable or even inappropriate. So it's one of the hush hush taboos. You even try and talk about it openly, and you get all the bad, bad looks and side eyes, right? But silence comes at a heavy price because cervical cancer develops slowly, and when detected early, it is highly treatable. Sadly, many women only seek help when the disease has already advanced. And this reality forces us to ask, why are women still dying from a preventable disease? What role do awareness and early screening truly play in saving lives? And how can families, faith leaders, and healthcare systems work together to protect women's health without shame, without fear, and without delay? And that's what we're going to be looking at today. Let's join our voices with the voices of the numerous practitioners, experts, um, medical doctors, foundations, the NGOs that are doing so much in this space to raise awareness about cervical cancer. It's a type of cancer. It starts in the cervix. It's the lower part of a woman's uterus. That's the womb, and it connects to the vagina. So you understand how intricate it is and why it's a hush hush thing. It usually develops slowly over time when normal cells in the cervix change and become abnormal. If these abnormal cells are not found and treated early, they can then turn into cancer. You now wonder what causes it. How can you get it? Who's vulnerable? Who is susceptible to getting the cervical cancer? We've talked about it being for women, so it's not something that affects men. However, I think with the mistake we make is in thinking because the woman's affair, then the men are not part of it, they are exempted. But guess what? These men are daddies to some daughters, they are husbands to wives, they are, they have mothers. So they should also be in the front line helping us to lend a voice to this awareness that we are on right now. Faida, are you here now? Okay, I'll
Yes,
still.
I can.
Okay.
Alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Walaikum salam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How are you? Sorry for putting you on the spot, but let's see how far we can go before medical experts join in. Can you hear me clearly though?
Okay. Yes, I can.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. So just launching the campaign or the awareness or joining our voices to those are already in that space about cervical cancer, what it is, where does it even occur? It occurs in the vagina, the cervix area of the woman's body part, which is the lower part of the uterus that connects to the vagina. So this is where the cervix is located, and this is the one that is at risk of having a cancer. So it usually begins with an infection in most cases from a very common virus called the HPV virus, human papilloma virus, and that's where it all starts from. So I'm sure most HPV infections they go away on their own, but when certain high risk types persist for a long time, then they can cause abnormal changes in the cervix. If those changes are not detected and treated early, that's when it then becomes cancer. That's when it progresses into cancer. And every woman should take this seriously because cervical cancer often shows no symptoms in its early stages. Subhanallah. And that's the scary part. Just to put you on the spot, Faida, what do you know about cervical cancer or cervical screening, or have you ever gone for a cervical screening? Hello, Faida.
Oh, I can hear you now. Cervical cancer, what I've heard from it, we always hear, oh, go for your pap smear,
Yeah,
do
pap
this, do
smear.
that. It's a kind of cancer that we should, try to check so that it will not be that it will just catch you unawares. So like you said from the beginning, it's a cancer that affects the cervix. And the cervix, like we all know, I don't know if other people know, but is the lower part of the uterus that connects to the vagina, and most times it's usually slowly. That sends the prompting to, okay, let's check, always check, make sure you have routine checks of the cervix. So yeah, like you said, also it's caused by by an infection that is very common, a virus rather, human papilloma virus, and you should all take it seriously because it's quite deadly. And yeah, it can affect children, spouses, and also entire households. Thinking about when it actually happens, the cost of taking care of it, and the stress on the family itself as well.
Yeah, I know the sad part of it is the fact that it's treatable once detected early. However, it doesn't present with any symptoms in the early stages. So I think that's the real catch. The fact that you just have to submit yourself to the annual pap smear, the annual test, the annual screening. It's not a painful procedure. For those of you that have done it before, you can attest to this. It's not a painful procedure. You just take a swab. It's a quick, a few seconds, but that annual check. Ensure that you go for the screening just to ensure that the coast is clear, all is well. Now, if cervical cancer is preventable, so why are many women still diagnosed late? Especially now we've established it doesn't come with any symptoms. I think the other problem with women is the fact that we suck in pain a lot, and so even
Yeah.
when there's the slightest, if when it's gone past the early stage and it's already giving symptoms, we still ignore it and suck it in. Why do we do
Until
that
it's
to
not very
ourselves?
obvious.
Why do we do
Yeah, well,
that?
most people, most women, they get diagnosed late because, like you said, they often ignore the early signs, the symptoms that it gives until it becomes worse. And sometimes it's not even about ignoring; it's has to do with probably they don't know about screening, or maybe like hospitals that actually offer these services, and some of them would be scared of, okay, oh, the cost, like if I go there, how much will they charge me to do this? Will I be a burden to my family, this and that? And also the fear and stigma that, oh, when people hear that, oh, this person is suffering from this kind of illness, maybe people would
Mm.
want to stay away from it, stuff like that. Yes. So what we can only do is, the way we are talking about it here on the program right now, we try to encourage people and create awareness for it. At the same time, try our best to.
I think I lost you for a few seconds there, but yes. So just to add to what you've said, is the thing about I don't know why we are very. This is a body part that Allah has bestowed upon us, that Allah has given to us women. It is a part and parcel of us. I think the general fear or the issue with us owning up and going for screening, openly talking about it, is the fear of being seen as promiscuous. Oh, what's your business with? I think that's where it stems from. Actually, because we're also a very conservative group of people, the Muslim women, extremely conservative. So it becomes eye and side eyes is what's causing us not to embrace this early screening, early, what's the word now? I think we should normalize. What I'm looking for is for us to normalize, and that's why I keep referring to the men folk, our daddies, our brothers, the husbands. Normalize it. Go with the entire family. Go with your wife hand in hand and go for the screening. That will disabuse the minds of general people thinking, oh, she's got it because she's being loose and being a free giver and a cheerful giver, and that's where it stems from. So I think the more of men folk that come forward to lend a voice to the campaign, to the awareness, to a husband ensuring that he pays for his wife's screening annually, invites her, takes her there, drives her to the clinic for the screening. I think all of this will play a huge role in closing the gap and deepening the awareness. What do you think, Faida? I think we have network glitch. There's a delay every now and again. Anyways, moving on. So, I mean, you're free to join the conversation by calling us. 07000 is the number to call, especially if you have anyone, or you know anyone that has been through it. Let's talk about it. Let's put our voices to it. Let's dispel, actually, or if you've gone through it and you've been treated, let's talk about it. So would love to hear from you. 09155 917 is the alternative number you can call to be a part of the show. Of course, you can drop us messages, SMS or WhatsApp on 08155 917 or 0731 756 537. Fingers crossed. We're still praying for Dr. Fatima Habib Adeyemi and Dr. Habib to join us, inshallah, in the course of the show, and give us a bit more technical perspective to what we're discussing. So, whilst we've talked about what cervical cancer is and how to prevent getting it, who is at risk, who is truly at risk of cervical cancer? Now the truth is that any woman with a cervix is at risk. Now take that again. So it is so long as you're a woman, not the revised gender, the original gender, you were born a woman and you have a cervix, subhanallah, you are susceptible to having cervical cancer. So this conversation concerns you. Now you should know why you should take the screening. It doesn't show signs. They show for face, right? You don't know when it's coming, and that's why you are encouraged to go for annual screening. So regardless of your age, your education level, marital status, or background, cervical cancer is not limited to a certain type of woman. And so let's clear that air about, because you're promiscuous, that's why you're getting it. No, you can be clean end to end, never had any issues, so to speak, and you're still exposed to this. So the risk increases with persistent HPV infection. That's the human papilloma virus. I do pray that one of the doctors can join and shed a bit more light on this HPV, where we can get it, how you can contract that virus, and all of that. So risk increases. So if you have persistent HPV infection, if you do not go for regular screening, if you have a weakened immunity or limited access to healthcare, then you are at risk of contracting the cervical cancer, of getting the cervical cancer. Importantly, being married, being faithful, or living a modest life does not eliminate the risk. So there you have it. For those of you that have been thinking, you got a cancer because you are exposed to multiple partners, that's not what it is. So you can be a solo, committed, loyal to one partner as a Muslima and still get this HPV and ultimately cancer if not detected early. So with all that information, I think by now you should be at a point where you should start to think, where is the next cervical cancer screening holding? Where can I find a clinic to go for the screening? Because it's not about your sexual life or your sexual activity. Every woman should know that cervical cancer is not a punishment or a moral failing or something to be ashamed of. It's a health condition, and awareness is a form of self-care. And I think that's what we are doing on the show this morning, bringing that awareness to your attention, why you should learn about it, why you should read about it, why you should be concerned about it. I keep going back to the male folk. You have a lot of role to play in disabusing the minds of the people by supporting your women folk, your sisters, your mothers, your daughters. Get them to the clinics, pay for the screening, get early help, ensure that they go regularly. We're going to go on a quick break. But before then, let's start thinking of what misconceptions prevent women from going for their screening. Why are people not going for screening? We've talked about it. Early detection helps to prevent the full-blown cancer, right? So why aren't people going for this screening? Let's talk about this after this break. Stay with us.
was young, I was a fool. I was blind, didn't know any better. I was afraid I made too many mistakes, and you'd only look at me as a sinner. No matter how much I would try, all the walls I put up always shattered, until your mercy conquered me. Oh Allah, you know I love my insecurities, and you keep them hidden far away. Oh Allah, you hide all of my sins and impurities, and you call me back when I go astray. Whatever I did, whatever I said that's wrong, it was only because I was fed up. I thought I could do it all, that I was strong, but it turned out I wasn't so clever. No matter how much I would try, all the walls I put up always shattered, until your mercy conquered me. Oh Lord, you know I love my insecurity.
You're welcome back. It's still Everyday Muslim live on WFM 91.7. And just before the break, I did open the phone lines, but I'll do that again in case you missed it. 07000 917 917 is the number to call. Alternatively, 09155 917 917. That's the number to call to be a part of the show. Alternatively, you can send us text message or WhatsApp to 08155 917 917 or 070 56537. Network is not helping this morning because Fahida is here with me, working with me on this show today. We're looking at cervical cancer. Why are women still getting it, even though it's highly preventable and treatable? Why are people dying from cervical cancer? That's what we're looking at. So there are obviously misconceptions that prevent women from going for this screening. We've looked at some of them. It includes that the screening is painful, and I've told you it's not a painful thing. You won't even but I don't know about your pain threshold, but I honestly assure you that it's not a painful process. It's unlike certain other screenings. This pap smear is a quick blink an eye, and they've taken the swab that they need, they've taken the sample that they need, and it's all done. So it's not a painful process. So please embrace the screening. Go for screening. There's no shame in it. You are married, you're loyal to your partner, you can still get the HPV, and if not detected and treated, it can go into full-blown cervical cancer. So don't shame people. Don't be ashamed. Don't feel ashamed to go for screening. Or you don't see any symptoms, so there's nothing to tell you to go for. We're telling you now that it's something that does not present with any symptoms in the beginning. It doesn't show any signs. So ensure that annual screening is part of your routine, is part of your normal agenda for the year. Fix a time and go and ensure you do that annually, as religiously for that matter. Others believe that screening can cause infertility, it can spread disease or expose them to judgment. So I will share an experience. My first pap smear, I think so. I requested for a female practitioner to attend to me. Unfortunately, when it was my turn, it was only so there were rooms, different rooms that were taking this pap smear. And so when it was my turn to be attended to, it was a male that was going to attend to me. So when the doctor walked in, of course, I first of all shut off, from where to where. I had, a deal I requested for. I made the request when I, applied, when I went for the registration, right? And so he said, unfortunately, there are no female doctors available at that time. They had all ended their shifts, and he was the only one available to take it. if it was, but then he wasn't going to be alone anyways. There were nurses that were going to be there. Would I still go ahead? And so to tell you, one of those things that happens is we do not have enough female doctors practicing. You brothers, you know what you have done to our female doctors. Sit at home, don't go anywhere. So we don't have enough of them in the hospitals. Anyway, so I was exposed to a male doctor that took the pap smear, but there were three other nurses in the room. One was sufficient, but for some reasons, I think just to give me the extra comfort, there were extra nurses in the room.
Eh?
So yes, that's something. Yes, Faida.
Happen.
Hello? Faida, I heard your voice. Network, behave yourself, oh, please. Faida, I know you were
Can you hear me
talking.
now?
Yes, yeah, I can hear you now.
I
Alhamdulillah.
can hear you.
Okay. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, so I wanted to think what we were talking about, the common misconceptions. I think there's also the fear of receiving bad news. Most people would be like, "Oh, I don't want to check because what if they tell me, oh, that there's something wrong with me," and then you start to give yourself that fear altogether.
Mm.
So the fear is there, and they just avoid, and these delays would actually make the disease like progress silently without you even knowing, and then it's now turned to a full-blown thing at the end, which would even cost more, and eventually some people it will lead to death in their cases. May Allah
Yeah.
protect us.
Yeah. I mean, thanks for that. You're actually right. And when you said it, you were talking to me directly. Me, my philosophy has always been, if I don't know, what I don't know does not kill me. So if I don't know, it will not kill me. But that is absolutely wrong. And as they show for face is the main danger. So it's not even going to give you any pains or anything, and it just starts to progress by itself. So let's please love ourselves. In loving yourself is to go for screening, and we cannot emphasize that enough. Why is screening important even when you feel healthy? Faida, you don't feel any pains, there's nothing, you're always good to go. Why do you still need to go for screening?
Well, when you go for screening, I think that enables like the healthcare, and enables you to detect it early, because if you look at probably the time frame between the first screening and the one after it, within that time you can allow them discover if there is anything, if at all it's not even the cervical cancer, but going for regular checkups would allow them see anything that is there. And I want to say to everybody listening, even if you feel healthy, it does not mean that everything is fine internally. You allow them check, and it would give them the opportunity to detect anything. So it will save your life in
The network is tired again. So
for
yes.
women. Women are the carers of the home. So when they would you would hear women, a healthy woman.
Okay, so sometimes or most times,
And
because the woman shows a lot of energy, because she's the one that's available for
yes,
everybody.
yes, strong woman, please.
Strong woman, don't do yourself this danger of staying strong. Please submit to self-care, love yourself, and in loving yourself is to go for screening. So if it's, especially when you're healthy, is when you should even make sure that you cross all the T's and dot all the I's. So we spoke in the beginning and said HPV is the main culprit. The human papilloma virus is the culprit when it comes to this cervical cancer. Yet there's a vaccine. So what role does the HPV vaccine play in prevention? This vaccine, and who should take it, and how easily accessible is it? While we still wait for the doctors to join, we're in touch with them. They are still very neck deep in their surgery. Let's see how far we can get with this. So the vaccine, ordinarily, as with any other vaccine, it protects against high risk types of the HPV. that causes most of the cervical cancers. It works best when given before exposure to the virus, but it can still provide benefits later on. So you see, again, we're back where we started of early detection. Screen, go for screen. So when you're feeling the healthiest, when you think there's nothing wrong with you, is when you should go and submit to the check. Make it a normal part of your itinerary for the year, right? Your to-do list for the year, put it there and ensure you go for the screening. Vaida, you were saying something. Right. So vaccination generally is about prevention. So the key thing is you will take the vaccine to prevent it from occurring, not when the virus is already in the body. However, even if the virus is already there and is detected early, there's hope, right? So let's not wait till it has degenerated into an almost terminal illness before we do something about it. Vaccination is about disease prevention. It's not a moral judgment or lifestyle assumptions, just like other vaccines. It's a protective measure. Families can make informed decisions by seeking accurate medical information, ask questions, speak to your gynecologist, and get early help. That's the real deal. How can the cervical cancer awareness be addressed in a faith conscious way? I think first things first, one of it is what we're doing here with Everyday Muslim by Muslim Public Affairs Center with in partnership with WFM, the Women Radio. But this is one of the ways we're doing it. So you're too shy to talk about it. We'll talk about it on your behalf. You just need to make the move, do the right thing. So now you didn't know about it, now you know about it. And before the week runs out, you should take yourself to a clinic and get the screening done, right? Faith and health do not oppose each other. In fact, many faith traditions emphasize the preservation of life, prevention of harm, and seeking knowledge. Families and faith leaders can speak about cervical cancer using respectful language, focusing on health, responsibility, and compassion rather than fear or shame. Community institutions can invite healthcare professionals, provide safe spaces for education and encouragement to seek care without stigma. So, subhanAllah, Ramadan is around the corner. We're all planning, we're all doing different events. During our events, how about we set up a booth in the event center where we're having our pre-Ramadan lecture or Ramadan lectures and have the medical team on hand to just a booth in a corner, all this mobile, even an ambulance, just make this service available and accessible. In such a gathering where you know that a lot of families will be there, we would achieve a huge milestone because it will become a normal thing. Anybody going there to run the test, right? It won't be a big deal. It won't be stigma. There will be no stigma because everyone is doing it. Do you see the difference? Everyone is going for it, so it becomes a lot easier. So this is us calling on all established organizations to please include the cervical screening as part of their Ramadan itinerary. All the plans that you're putting up for Ramadan, please set up a clinic, a quick booth, and staff it up. Let's get more women to get their screening done. That's a huge role that we can play. And of course, part of the conversations that you're having at the talk, invite women during your Juma. You can mention it. This is a cervical awareness week, cervical cancer awareness week. Mention it on the member. It doesn't hurt. And, implore families to take the responsibility and do the right thing. If you love your woman, you'll get her to the next clinic for the cervical screening. When these conversations are, held in such high level places, it becomes a lot easier because of the person speaking about it. It becomes a lot easier to be assimilated. It becomes easier for the women to find solace in walking into the clinic and getting help and all of that. So let's do more within ourselves. When conversations are framed around dignity, protection, and care for families, it's more empowering rather than uncomfortable. So this is also imploring the imam, seek knowledge about it. If you don't know, there is no harm. Invite a medical doctor to spare a few minutes to talk about it. Let's do more in spreading the awareness in safe places. I don't know if Aida is still there. I know we've been struggling with the network for a bit. The phone lines are still open. 07000 917 917 is the number to call to be a part of the show. 09155 917 917 is the alternative number to call. Of course, you can send us WhatsApp messages or SMS to 08155 917 917. Faida is still here. Dr. Habib.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, Dr. Habib is here already.
MashaAllah. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatullah.
I sincerely apologize for, choking you this morning, but may Allah reward you for, your making yourself available. We've been talking about cervical cancer. It's a cervical cancer awareness week, and we have a role to play, and because you're a medical doctor, we need help with the HPV. What is this HPV? Where can you get it? Because from what we've learned about cervical cancer, it is not about you being promiscuous for you to get this HPV. So just shed a bit more light on HPV. How do you prevent yourself from getting this? Everything about HPV that we need to know, sir.
So HPV is an acronym for human papilloma virus, and this is a virus that can be sexually transmitted, but it doesn't mean the person is promiscuous, because once there is contact, the contact can spread it to any other person. So if any person contacted it at any time and you get married to such a person, you can have HPV. Or if the person gets contact with a lady that has been in contact with another person another man that has it. So it could be from the partner, it could be from the partner's partner. So it's not necessarily that the person that had it is promiscuous. In fact, it just means that there's a contact one way or the other with someone who had HPV. So HPV is a virus. A virus is actually smaller than bacteria. Okay. So usually we have body mechanism that engulf and take away foreign bodies like bacteria, but virus is so small. So the immunity find it difficult usually to take away virus. So it persists because the body is not able to take it away. So because it persists, it causes chronic irritation. And chronic irritation usually is is what leads to cancer.
So let me take you back, sir. So what we're saying, the HPV can only be sexually transmitted. And so this your partner, an ex-partner and previous partner had it, didn't even know they had it, and transferred it to you. Subhanallah. And just, is there a way, does he have symptoms that he presents with, so that you can even go and get tested for the HPV?
Unfortunately, not everybody has symptoms. Most of the time, it is symptomless. It's not a bacterial infection. So most of the time, there is no symptoms. But at times, you can see wax. The person can start having wax. But most of the time, there is no symptoms. And that is the problem. That is why one way of preventing is from immunization. Once someone is immunized against HPV, the person will not have HPV. That's why we talk about Gardasil and all. We talk about immunization of usually young children that have not had coitus. That's precoital children, both women and both ladies and boys. Normally we preach, and you can also immunize adults. That's the elderly. Only that you have to do a test to know if the person already has the viral infection. Because those who already have the viral infection, immunization will not do anything.
So when you say at what age can we start to immunize the children?
Usually between 9 and 14. Around 9 and 14.
Okay.
For a lady that we are sure, or a guy that we are sure has not started seeing the opposite.
Okay, fair enough. So from age 9, you can start to take your children. So daddies, you can hear this. It's not about it's a job for everyone. Don't leave it to the mothers alone. So get your daughters to have the immunization on time to prevent it. And so just to establish, sir, HPV can affect both male and female. Unfortunately, cervical cancer only affects women.
Oh yes, HPV can affect male and female. On very rare occasion, we also see penile cancer in men from HPV, but it's not as common as cervical cancer. You know that our men, our boys usually we circumcise them. Those who do not do circumcision, the penile cancer is higher in those populations that do not do circumcision.
In many communities, cultural norms, religious sensitivity, and modesty concerns make the conversations very uncomfortable. How else can we help the women folk? How else can we help ourselves? What more roles do you think we can play to get the awareness to all the corners that it needs to get to?
Yes, where there is sensitivity, we can get a woman, a medical, a gynecologist, a female gynecologist, or a female doctor to do the teaching. Where if it's a female cohort, if it's a female population, and for males, anybody can male. We can also employ male, but if it's a mixed gathering, we can have both male and female, presence, medical person interacting with the population. So as to douse the sensitivity.
Yeah, so I do want us to go back to the part that it doesn't present with anything. So, and then this HPV vaccine, is it possible that once you do your screening and it's established that there's no virus, can the medical experts, medical practitioners, can they make it a norm that once it's established that you don't have it, then you should get vaccinated immediately?
That exactly is the norm. That is the preaching. That is the education we are putting out.
Sir, when did this election start? Because when I did my pap smear and it was clear, nobody gave me any vaccination. This is many years ago. If I wasn't vaccinated then, I would not be afraid now.
Well, maybe the person that did it missed it. Is the person a gynecologist?
Yes.
The person is a gynecologist, okay. Well, maybe the person missed it.
An oversight.
But, it could be an oversight. I'm an oncologist, so this is my area, so I know that's what we preach.
Okay, so let me cut in very. So let's talk us through the process. So for someone that has never been for a screening, what do you expect? Just walk us through the entire process. What will happen when the tests are done? How long before the result comes out? All the fear and the waiting period when they are waiting for, do I have it? Do I not have it? All of that. Let's walk through that, sir. From the moment I walk into the clinic to submit myself to a pap smear, what do I expect?
So for a pap smear, you would have scheduled the appointment. So you schedule the appointment, you go for the pap smear based on the schedule, and within a few days the results are out because it's more like psychology. The result is out almost immediately. In some clients, the result is out while you are there. In some clients, but here within a few days you get the result. And when you get the result, then the person is going to counsel the patient to let the patient know what the result is and what is the next step, if there is a next step. Usually, vaccination, you might do further tests. You might do further tests to look for the particles of that virus. There is a test you do to look for the particle of the virus. So if it's not there, because pap smear is not looking for virus, it's looking for abnormality. There's higher test you do to look for the viral capsid, we call it. And also it's only that test that we would now be able to know whether it will be vaccinated. So pap smear is just to check if there's a presence of pre-malignant cells to cervical cancer. What I mean is you have to know if there are abnormal cells that could later become cancerous or if they are cancerous cells. Pap smear is not a definitive test. It's a test you do that will lead you to further tests.
Right.
So it's those further tests, that you can use to know if there is viral capsid, to know if there is virus or not pap smear itself.
Okay, okay. Thank you for the enlightenment. So just to I know the exact figures, but how expensive is this screening? Maybe this will help people that are afraid to go for the test because of the cost implication. On average, on a random, on average, how much does it cost to get screened before the further investigations? Just the basic pap smear test.
Pap smear is one of the cheapest screening you can do. Even though the price will vary from place to place, especially whether it's government or whether it is
Private.
private. And at times, the test is even free because at times we have NGOs, we have programs that they run, and pap smear is free in those programs. So most of them that are done when they are doing programs is free. But as far back as I know, as I recall, maybe it's a long time, about up to 10 years back, I know pap smear was just 1,000.
Wow.
So pap smear, in government hospital, you just pay a token if you go to government hospital.
Right.
It's nothing expensive, something you can easily do in the government hospital. But if they are doing programs, if you have all these NGOs doing programs, it will be free. Anytime they are doing a program, it's free. So it's not something that is very expensive.
Alhamdulillah. So this is me openly calling on you to book you in advance. We should be able to set up something. Ramadan's around the corner. A lot of our entities, Islamic organizations will be holding events. I think we should take it to them. Let's take the test to those organizations. Let's take it to the it makes it a lot easier for the women to embrace the screening, I believe. What do you think, sir?
You are very right. You are on point.
Alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah khairan. Just before we wrap it up, for that woman who's listening right now, never been screened, she's afraid, she keeps postponing it. I'm aware, I know I should do screening every year. I put it down, but when it's time to go, I leave it. I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. Who keeps postponing it? So what's the most important message that you would want her to hear this morning about her life, her health, her family, and the power of early prevention?
So pap smear, as cheap as it is, as it can be, that could be even free, could mean the difference between your living well, having children, having grandchildren, and fulfilling all your desires, and also experience a devastating cervical cancer that could cause morbidity and fertility, such that you are not able to witness, your grandchildren and your desires. So pap smear is very important because even if it is caught with pap smear, it's going to be so cheap to treat, and the cure will be so guaranteed that on record, if you go and check statistics, you see that in the Western world where this screening is done, cervical cancer mortality has been reduced by 70%. That's 70% of people who would normally have died from cervical cancer are cured because of screening, because they are detected early and cured. Unfortunately, if it's not detected early, when they start giving signs before you see it, it can no longer be cured. It's going to end up in the end of the day leading to death because we will only be able to manage it. So the earlier we detect it, the better. It's a plus when you do pap smear because you use small amount of money to detect it when it's small, if it becomes at all. And if it's not there, you certify yourself that yes, you don't have it. But if you have it, they will treat it and we are sure we'll cure it. Thank you.
So whether you are actively let me put it this way, because we've spoken about it being sexually transmitted. So whether you're active or not active, because someone will say, oh, but I'm not even sexually active, why am I going for any pap smear? When what's the best response to this kind of person?
If you have had coitus if you have had just one encounter, you need pap smear.
So
if you had it 20 years ago, you need pap smear. If you just had one encounter, because there is no guarantee to the fact that the partner did not have contact with somebody who has had contact with someone who has human papilloma virus.
Thank you so much, Doctor. So let's quickly go to the vaccination. Around just helping with figures here will also, disabuse the minds of just to get a vaccination. What range of figures are we looking at?
Now, vaccination is not just once. You take it at least 2 times or 2 or 3 times. If you go to government hospital, like I said earlier, it will also still be cheaper. And if there are NGO doing it, it will still be cheaper. But I know that if you go to the pharmacy, you can get vaccine from around 30,000. And that will last maybe the 3 cycles of injection.
Okay. Okay, I know I should let you go now, but I just have one more question. We spoke about no signs in the early stages of cervical cancer, but in the later stages, so for someone listening now and is worried that I've been seeing some signs in my body, or maybe it's this cancer, let me go. What signs are we going to be seeing at the later stages, just to wrap it up? So if there's anybody listening now and you're seeing any of these signs, please go for a checkup as quickly as possible. What signs present in the later stages, sir?
So signs will start from either postcoital bleeding. That's when you meet a man, you see blood. It can also be offensive discharge. The person is discharging. The discharge could be whitish. It could be stained with blood, what we call serosanguinous discharge. And over time, the person may start losing weight. In fact, at times, the person would not be able to control urine, or we even see faces in urine. Wow. And over time, the loss of weight will be associated with bone pain. The person could even start having chronic cough, or the person will be wasting. The person is growing old. And if still unchecked, the person can even lose the function of the kidney, and the person will now have to be on dialysis. And again, the person, if still not controlled, it can lead to death.
SubhanAllah.
These are just the run through.
Thank you so much, Dr. Habib. Thank you for your time. We'll let you go. Jazakumullah khairan for bailing us out at the shortest notice possible. And we continue to pray for Dr. Fatima to have a successful surgery. May Allah ease their affairs, the entire team. May it be a successful one. Itiwa Akbar, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan for always being there for us, Dr. Habib. May Allah accept this from you as an act of ibadah and make it weigh heavily on your scale of good deeds. My sisters out there, if any of the signs that doctor has ruled out, if you've experienced it, even if it was just a flash, please go for check. If you've ever had an intercourse with anyone 20 years ago, you've been celibate now for 15 years, but you've had a contact once, please go for screening. Early detection is the safest, is the cheapest at the end of the day. Let's build a community together. Muslim NGOs, foundations, Muslim organizations, let's commit to saving more women actively and intentionally by adding cervical screening to our Ramadan projects, our Ramadan programs this year. Let's include it as part of our top priority. Let's set up booths in our organizations during our events, and let's get more women screened, tested, and helped. And Allah will ease our affairs. Self-care is important. Your health is your wealth. You have a role to play in ensuring that your life Allah has given you and trusted you with that life. You have to take good care of it. And that's how I like to end it today on the show. Everyday Muslim comes your way every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. All the way till 12 noon. And inshallah ta'ala, it will be another bumper package next week. Do tune in. Catch up on all our previous episodes. Thank you so much, Mariam. I think her name is Joy. Just joining. Hillary, no, Hillary is not just the Michael. Michael is the one doing it. And Benji, thank you so much for making this a smooth sail. Faida, thank you. Thank you for leaving me halfway, but thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you same time next week, inshallah. Masalam.
Good life, good life. Allah, I wanna thank you for the good life. I wanna wake up in